Hello and welcome back to X and Y Gaming Casually Competitive, even though that's not even the name of my channel anymore. Look, I've already talked about these cards before, but I just can't help it but sitting down and playing with. Look, they made new releases. Oh, how can you not play this? So, look, I'm a big fan of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. I'm a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh in general, and I'm frankly a big fan of big boomer nostalgia vibes. So when they come in and say, "Look, we've got all these Yugi's monsters, and we're retraining them around his shiny box." Oh, that sounds cool. I gotta check it out, and then here we are. So I'm trying to make this kind of more meta-y, you know, to like stand up to things and be able to have its own interruptions. So naturally, that just means you add in a bunch of hand traps. So I guess we'll go through that first, get them out of the way, right? We got your Mold Charmies, so you can draw cards when your opponent summons from either the deck or extra deck, or from their hand. Special from the deck and extra deck, and this one's normal or special from the hand. Great. Ash Blossom, stop from drawing. What is it? Add from deck to hand, special one from deck, send a card from deck to graveyard. It's cross out designator. You send any one of these cards that you don't want to get your opponent to use, and then they can't. And it's very mean. You got your called by so you can hit your opponent's hand traps or whatever, or maybe stop an effect that you don't want to happen in the graveyard. The infinite impermanence, negate an effect. It's like an effect veiler. It's like effect veiler is like an infinite impermanence on legs. Sorta. It doesn't really, it doesn't negate stuff in a column, but whatever. Don't worry about that. Don't think about it too much. Songs of the Dominators. What is this one? Uh, uh, okay, so this is the one for your opponent activates a Okay, so Ash Blossom. Among the other things she stops is for adding cards from deck to hand, and if your opponent activates anything that includes adding cards from deck to hand, this is like a 1/3 Ash Blossom, but in trap form, and also has the chance to destroy the card. Whereas Ash Blossom can do more than just deck to hand, but only negates it, and she comes from the hand. This thing just stops any monster effect. And so, I just like having these kind of hand traps. Like I said, we're just trying to make this more interactory. What the fuck? Okay, look, anyways. You got a Nibiru for your opponent summoning a lot of monsters, or if you just want to cross out designate it. Your backup Molcharmies, and in case you need a third copy. Other use third copies of the useful trap cards. In the trap cards that I've taken out. Like, I decided I actually still wanted that one, but I stopped playing Hidden Fortress. And then the backup Gaze of Timaeus, and if in case I decide I want to lean more into it. But anyways, so like, I've already talked about a lot of these, but I really, really like this deck. I love Gandora Dragon of G. I like the original Gandora Dragon. It's just always looked cool, but unfortunately, and it was never really good. And this one's really only good in this archetype, but at least, it's the whole point of playing this archetype is I'm going to play the dragon, as opposed to trying to fit this dragon into any other deck like I would have as a kid. Speaking of, actually, don't laugh at my handwriting. Gandora. Yeah. Here we go. No, it's this one. It's the original Gandora! It can't even be special summoned. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember trying to fit this card in my deck as a kid. I just probably got to the can't be special summoned and put it down. No, I can't Monster Reborn it. It's not good. Alright, anyways, Gandora G. Whatever, he gets attack for every banished card or whatever, and you pay half your life points. You'll never not be able to pay half your life points. You destroy all the cards, as many other cards on the field as possible, and banish them. And then you get any level 7 or lower monster that mentions signing sarcophagus from your deck. And also its number, you increase its level by the number of cards destroyed by the effect. Okay, great. So, It's a board wipe and also like half setup, but it's more like it's set up on everything else. If you don't have everything else to do the setups with it, then it's pointless. And for example, I guess I'll just say, like, if you have Gadget Trio, Marshmallow, and Dark Magician, and then you wipe the board, then Dark Magician will come back. Gadget Trio will get the trap card from your deck if you have it in there, like I currently don't. And more Marshmallow, if you have a second more Marshmallow, like I currently don't, he'll summon another one of himself. So anyways, it's just like, that's one of those things you can do, but like I said, I don't play the second one anymore. I just have the first one. I just have the one. The Dark Magician, which is pretty great. I like that its name becomes Dark Magician. I really tried to think about if I could play other Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl support, but she's only treated as Dark Magician Girl if she's summoned by her own ability, and he's only treated as Dark Magician while on the field. So I ultimately decided against it, but it's also why I decided to possibly play an extra 2 or 3 Timaeus, because as long as I can get him out, which is still pretty easy to do considering you can just search him out and summon him very easily. I just thought it was a good idea. But also there's other plays like this new Dark Magician of Destruction that came out with this. But I guess I'll get to that in a second. So like, so you have here the Summon Skull. Oh, right. Well, you can summon this thing. He's Dark Magician. And most importantly, if he happens to get destroyed... Wait. I'm sorry. If this card is destroyed by card effect and a level 5 or higher monster is on the field, you can special summon this card. Then you can set a spell trap from your dark... I didn't realize they had to have so much. I just thought, oh my god, I do not read Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So this thing, anyways, it goes away and you can get this, which is like an upgraded Mirror Force, but for Shining Sarcophagus. It does damage, I guess. But anyways... So, anyways, Archfiend's Advent, which is basically Summon Skull, he can normal summon himself without tributing, and then you can also change of heart your opponent's monster, which is just pretty nice. Although I guess I should say that monster can't attack unless you controlled Shining Sarcophagus when the effect was activated. So whatever, keep that in mind, I guess. It's just nice. Like I said, it's nostalgia baiting. 3, Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice. I would have never played Dark Magician Girl if it wasn't for the fact that she has a really good effect this time around. Kind of like in, just for like the really quickest of moments. But if we hop on over to the Rush Dark Magician deck, I only play Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl in here because her attack increases by 500 instead of 300, which is, I mean, it's nice, I guess. It's better than 300. But anyways, she actually does gain 300, but for each monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus in both graveyards. But anyways, look, she discards another card from the hand so that she can summon herself. And then when she summons herself, you get a Shining Sarcophagus from your deck to your hand. And, I mean, that's basically it. She's just a searcher for the card and a free body. But also, it's really important because not only do you get to get her on board and search out a spell card that you immediately get to activate, but once you activate this, and then as she's already on the board, you can trade her away as basically a single contact fusion for this thing. The Dark Magician of Destruction hits the board and he searches out the Gaze of Timaeus from your deck to your hand. Or, I mean, like, you could add Dark Mirror Force, I guess, if you really wanted to. And then you activate the Gaze of Timaeus, and then he goes away, and then you get like Red Dark Dragoon, or like Dark Magician. I think, or you can go Dark Magicians if you want. If you really wanted, you could go Dark Paladin. You're like, there's options, right? You've got options in here if you really want. There's pretty much the only one you'll ever make, but there's options, right? And so that's nice. And Gadget Trio is he hits the board and you get any Shining Sarcophagus or a spell trap that mentions it. And then the Shining Swordsman, you know, both him and the Magician, they can gain levels, and for each level above 4 they have 500 additional attack. They gain effects if you have Shining Sarcophagus. Like the swordsman says, when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets Shining Sarcophagus or any monster that mentions it that you control as a quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, increase the card's level by 1. And then Silent Magician Legiro says, when your opponent activates a spell or effect while you control a Shining Sarcophagus, which, by the way, just so you know, this says when your opponent activates a spell card, meaning from their hand to the board, they play it and they activate the spell card, or effect. So let's say a continuous spell card is already on the field, it's been there, but they're just now activating the effect. Bam, Silent Magician 0. As a quick effect, you negate it, and then just... oh, you don't destroy it. Well, I'll be damned. But anyways, you negate the activation, and if you do, increase this card's level by 1. Alright, so... well, it'll stop the spell card at least, the continuous one. But, well, anyways, it doesn't really matter. You go out by 1, and then by proxy, every turn, every standby phase, this thing goes up a level, and then by proxy, every time your opponent draws any number of cards, for each card they draw, they go up a level. Which is pretty nice. There's, if you're really trying to be suave about it, you could go into the battle phase and direct attack or something and give them a future silence to give them an extra however many attack points after your opponent draws. But I mean, you're also letting your opponent draw, so, use it sparingly. I would, you gotta be careful, well, anyway. Then you've got, you've got, like, ties that bind. So let's say you've got a Shining Sarcophagus out plus any monster that mentions it. You get to special summon up to 2 level 4 or lower monsters with different names that mention Shining Sarc from your hand and or deck. And then it goes on to say you can't special summon from the extra deck, but I mean, that's fine. Basically, you get her out, get the Sarcophagus, play the Sarcophagus, get her for him, get an Eye of Timaeus, set it down for your opponent's next turn, and then or whatever, and then you go on through the rest of your plays and get this out, just so that you don't have to worry about that you can't do the summons from the extra deck anymore. You do the summons from the extra deck, then have the restriction, and by the time your turn ends, it goes to your opponent. You can flip Eye of Timaeus back or whatever, and then get him off for that. And then he's protected by the time if you come around and play the dragon and you blow up the field, then you'll have a dragon or the dragoon, which is, I mean, that's pretty nice. And for the turn silence is pretty good because it'll give any of your monsters a +3 levels, which really only matters if you use it with swordsman or magician, but whatever. And if you activate it while you control Shining Sarc, and also if it happens to be in response to an opponent's monster activating its effect, you know what I mean? So like you happen to have one of these that mention it and this, and your opponent activates whatever monster effect, and then you activate this. Okay? That'll negate the effect because you activated this in response to a monster activation while having this in one of these. So because you activated this in response to a monster effect while this in one of these, you get to negate it. And also make your guys a little, like, 1,500 attack points more powerful. And not only that, but you can also banish it from your graveyard during the battle phase to end the battle phase. And I should say it's more specifically during the damage calculation. But even then, that's better, because half the time your opponent can't activate anything during damage calculation unless it specifically says to, and 9 times out of 10, cards that can be activated during the damage step, they're not necessarily going to do anything to stop this from stopping the battle. Well, anyways, it's just it's a really great way to save. Then you have Future Silence, which is a quick play spell that happens to add any one monster mentioning Shining Sarc from your deck to your hand. But more importantly, if you activated this during the battle phase while controlling Shining Sarc and a monster that mentions it, each player draws until they have 6 cards in their hand. And again, that's very detrimental. You never want to give your opponent more resources. It's not exactly the smartest play to make. However, if you use this appropriately, my God, if you got your opponent down to no cards in their hand, and all you got to do is just go in for a direct attack with a Silent Magician, that even at 1,000 attack, and you go into attack and you attack him directly. I don't know how you get into this situation, but just go with it. Future Silence, you activate it on attack declaration, and then their opponent draws to have 6 cards in their hand. That means that the Silent Magician is going up to like 3,000 attack, or by 3,000, so it would actually be like 4,000 attack. I'm just saying, it's crazy. It can be used effectively. You just gotta be careful. Then you got all the extra ones. Like I got an extra gadget trio, all my hand traps that I could possibly want more of, like Nibiru, Muckracker, which I'm really not sure. I think it's in here for this. Extra ties that bind, extra cards that are useful. And the extra deck is really just things like, at some point maybe I might have to make a Phoenix. At some point maybe I'll have no choice but to make a Splittle Knight. It's just it's having an alternate way of dealing with things that aren't just the main deck. And that if I really have to, if I really gotta dig deep, I can make a Light Charmer. But, that's mostly it. It's really not that great. Oh, and more Marshmallow can summon himself, and while you control Shining Sark, then he can't be destroyed by battle. And I think it's also card effects by battle. Oh, and it can't target it for monster effects. Okay. No, I'm retarded. Also, your opponent's monster cannot target for attacks, except this one. Yeah, because he's got the glasses. He's got the glasses, so they can only see him. Well, then what's the... Oh, no, this is what I'm thinking about. Okay, so look, anyways. So you can only use the falling effects once per turn. You're either going to get this thing out by the ties that bind, or you're going to get it out during your opponent's turn as a quick effect. Because you can special summon this card from your hand during your opponent's turn if you control Shining Sark. So anyways, if this card is destroyed by card effect, you can summon one more Marshmallow from your hand, deck, or graveyard, or banishment, which is great, because if you have 2 of them, it cycles himself. But, like I said, I only run the one now. I'm trying to be a little more experimental here. And, anyways, but you could special summon him from your hand, deck, graveyard, or banishment, basically from anywhere, except itself. It can't be this exact same copy. And if you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent, which is just great. It's just, it basically never goes away. But, like I said, trying to be more adventurous or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to actually not not always automatically lose just because I'm playing nostalgia. I want to play a fun deck, and then you play someone who's playing actual meta Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like, oh yeah, it's good game, I guess. Anyways, that's it, I guess. I just really like this deck. It's really not that hard, not very complicated, and, I don't know, it's just a bunch of fun to play a bunch of Yugi's old monsters. I'm never gonna go out and play actual Dark Magician Girl, but a Dark Magician Girl that has a search on summon gains 300 per whatever. It's what? Is it different names, too? One gain for each... Okay, so what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for each monster. Yeah, that's 12. Does it do any of these? No. So that's... At most, optimally speaking, okay, 12 cards. What is that? 3,600 attack? For 5,600 attack? That's pretty beefy. But I mean, that's wildly, that's not gonna happen. I really like using her for a search and a summon, alright? But I don't know, that's it. It's fantastic, it's nostalgic, it's great, it's really fun blowing up the board, and it really sucks when someone gets rid of your Shining Sarcophagus. And I don't know, that's it, I guess. I really like this deck. Thanks for watching. Jesus loves you, and I love you too.